Okay, guys. Well, I am super pumped that you guys are all here for How to Be Social on social media. So this, just to preface this, is not necessarily a class on ads. We can get into that in this class. I do lots of them. But this is really how to utilize your social media as a database, really cultivate relationships, and actually get like referrals that don't cost you anything other than time. Okay? So is everyone clear on that? And then I do want to write down a couple of things that you came here to learn, so that way we for sure cover them, okay? So about social media, what specifically, like what questions or what things did you come here to learn?
I'm gonna open the book.
Just learn everything?
Yeah.
Jasmine?
I'd say just to like be able to get more referrals from your sphere.
Okay. That's so I. Okay. Anyone else? Same.
More about what to post, I guess.
What to post?
I don't post anything. I don't have a life to post stuff with.
No. Love it. Okay.
I think just finding more clients specifically, because I feel like a lot of mine are mostly other agents, and so like deeper relationships with clients or potential clients.
Love it. All right. Anything else before we get on? Cool. So for those of you who have never met me, my name is Lizy Hoeffer. I have been a loan officer in the Valley for the last, since 2008, so over the last 12 years. The reason that I got into social media though is because 6 years ago, I actually got fired from my job, which I know sounds really catastrophic. But when you get fired from your job, a couple of interesting things happen to you. One, you lose your whole database, right? You don't have a pipeline of leads, and so I actually had to start my entire business all over again. The only leverage I had though was that I had been in business prior to and people knew my name. So a couple of strategic things that I did in that point in my business was one, I communicated with everyone in my phone and synced that list up with Facebook and social media. Okay, I wrote a letter from the heart just talking about getting fired, why I got fired, what I was going to do differently, and if people gave me a second chance, I promised them I would never let them down. I gave them all my new contact information, and I did run an ad saying, "Dear long lost clients," with that letter of the heart, okay? So these were all things that I did to rebuild my business. Now, here's what's insane, okay? Before I got fired from my job, I was what they called a top producer in lending. I did about 10 deals a month, which is 167 deals a year, which is a little more than 10, right? So like 13. And when I got fired, right, to the end of the year, so that was April 13th of 2013, to the end of the year, I closed 238 loans. Okay. The year after that, I closed 412. The year after that, I closed 529, then 634, then 810, and then last year at 981. Okay. So I have really grown my business. And what I found is if you can create a community that believes in your why, right, they will help you with the what, right, which for me happens to be homeless. Okay? So what I teach you today is really powerful, right? It is, I mean, this, if you really take it seriously and really implement the strategies, it will change your whole business. Okay? So are you excited to learn today? Yes? Yeah? Okay. Well, let's do it. Okay, so first and foremost, everybody should have a minimum of 300 people that they're in relationship with. Go ahead and write that down. Okay? That's an important figure because less than 300 makes it really challenging to get any kind of leverage. Okay? Now, I believe that it's difficult to be in deep relationship with more than 300 people. Okay? Some of you might question if you can be in deep relationship with 300 people. For sure you can. Okay? Now, for those of you who are like, I don't know 300 people, let me tell you, it's statistically impossible not to know more than 3,000 people based on how old we all are in this room. Okay? So, if you scroll down to your phone list, right? Don't scroll on me. Don't check text messages, okay? But most of you guys, if you go to your contact list, you go to contacts, and there's like a number sign at the very bottom. it will tell you how many clients you have. I have over 5,000, right? So most of you, I've never seen anybody have less than 160, right? So most of you will have somewhere around 300 already, okay? Oh, oops. Okay. All right, so just a couple of statistics for you. Databases are super huge when it comes to real estate specifically and targeting people that you know more specifically, like friends, family, cousins, whoever. Even though we may feel awkward about quote unquote selling to them, it is super important because 42% of people's business in real estate, the longer that they're in business, comes from their sphere, okay? Those are past clients, people that they know, and then 21% of their business comes from referrals from people they know, okay? So that's literally 63% of potential business, right, based on a database, right? Is that enough to like make you go, oh my God, I don't want to lose out on 63% of my potential business? Yeah, okay? So best databases to have, okay? One, you need a CRM no matter what. I don't care if that's Google Spreadsheets. I don't care if that's an actual CRM like Follow Up Boss, but you need somewhere to put all of your contacts, and these are the information points that you're going to want to have, okay? So you want to have their full name, okay? You want to know if they're married. You want to know their occupation. You want to know if they have children, okay? You want to know their birthdays, okay? Email, address, phone number. Okay, where do you think you would find all of that information? Facebook. So for me, Facebook is the #2 database you absolutely have to have. Okay, even if you only use it as a research tool, it is a non-negotiable when it comes to database building, period. Okay, I don't know about you, but I think it's a really invasive question to be like, so how many kids do you have? Where do you work exactly? What's your position? You know what I mean? But everyone posts that stuff on social media with no problem, okay? So from this, you learned you need a place to put your contacts, right? We have enough people in our cell phones, right, from today, and we need Facebook. Cool? All right, one thing that I'm going to tell you will help your business, okay? You may or may not do this, okay, depending on your comfort level with putting yourself out there. I do almost all of my prospecting when it comes to social media on my personal page, okay? Business pages are 100% for ads and like an online business card, okay? Like you need to have it for reviews. People want to know that you have a business Facebook page, but let me tell you, no one will see the content, okay? You have to pay to play there, okay? And my personal Facebook page is public and open to that, okay? So here's a couple of things that are tricky, right? Some of you might don't want to share your kids, right? You have like different personal beliefs, right? I just think that the more transparent, authentic, realistic picture that you can give of your life just continuously is just an extension of your brand message, okay? Do you guys know what a brand message is? Raise your hand if you do. Cool, this is really helpful, okay? So a brand is not your logo. It's not your marketing aesthetic, right? That is very confusing for lots of people. It is not your website. A brand is what people say about you and your business when you're not in the room, okay? Like my brand is, she teaches, she gets shit done, right? She's a problem solver, right? That's what people think of, right? They think I'm a good businesswoman. These are all part of my brand. Okay, so your brand message, right, will become the foundation of your messaging, okay, and we're going to touch back on that in a little bit, but does that all make sense? Okay, so once you have your 300 people cultivated, you have your Facebook, you have your CRM, right, here's how I want you to categorize people when it comes to social media, and you're going to do this on people's birthdays, okay, which sounds kind of funky, okay, so here's a pro tip. In the search bar of Facebook, you can type in birthdays of my friends. And you will get an entire list of the previous day plus the next day's birthdays. Okay? Your job as somebody who's in deep relationship with people is to call, text message, or video message people on their birthdays. Okay? This is the perfect time to add people to your database. Okay? I have found that it is really difficult to do a database in one sitting. Okay? In fact, I have never met a human who's been able to do it ever. Right? I have lots of people who are very ambitious. They're like, I'm going to tackle my database this weekend. And then they're like, oh man, I got to like 20 contacts and I like burnt out. Right? Because it is a lot of work. Okay? All right. So once you have them all, I want you to start categorizing people by how likely they are to refer your business. Okay? So when you get to people's names and the birthday, okay, you're going to look at them. Okay, and you're going to say, on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely is this person to refer me? How well do they know me? Okay. Now, if they get a 10 and like, if they get a 10 out of 10, right? They are somebody who, if they met you or they're talking to someone and someone mentions the word home, it could be their landscaping, and they're like, oh my God, you have to talk to my real estate gal. Her name's Jasmine. She's the most amazing human in the entire earth, and you need to have her contact information, right? That is who we consider a raving fan. Like, if you have been in business, you probably already have them, okay? If you have not been in business, the easiest way to find out who a raving fan is to ask for something in Facebook and then see who responds, okay? Now, there's another category, a secondary category that's very similar to a raving fan, but the key differentiator is that one thing that I'm talking about. It's that if somebody posts a need or somebody says, you know what, I'm looking for a good real estate agent, whether or not they're involved in that conversation or whether or not, right, you ask them directly, they're going to respond. That's what a promoter is, okay? Right, so very key distinction. One person's going to throw your name out anyway. One person has to know there's a need. Very slight difference. Okay, are we clear on that? Because sometimes people get confused on that concept. Okay, then the next concept is where the majority of people lie, which is why we have to have a consistent message that they see all the time. Okay, so just so you know, only 12% of posts get viewed by your database, period. So the one post that you put per week, 12 people in your database saw it. So if you have 100 people, guess how many people saw it? 12. Better hope they're the right 12. Okay? Right? You have to tell somebody something a minimum of 7 times before it becomes relevant to them. Okay? So think about it. If you only post once a week, those 12 people see it. You're hoping that the same 12 people see your post from next week, right? And then it's 7 weeks before they even know you're a realtor. Isn't that kind of nuts? Right? Just with that logic, wouldn't you want to post more frequently? Okay, cool. So passive people will only do business and refer you if asked directly. So Jasmine may hear of a conversation going on, you know, between Michael and Nadia, right? Going, oh gosh, I really need a good loan officer. And even though she knows me, she won't mention my name unless they go, hey Jasmine, do you know of a good loan officer, right? That is going to be a thing. That happens. People who are in the passive category, guys, are satisfied. They're not unhappy with your services. They're not angry, but they would never go out on a limb for you, right? They don't want to refer you because they don't want to look bad, okay? Very important that you are truthful with this. My mom is like that. No joke, one of the weirdest experiences I ever had is I used to do the auctions on the weekend, and I would qualify people at an auction, and this lady came to my booth, and I was taking her pre-qual, and she said she worked at Raytheon, and I was like, oh my God, my mom works at Raytheon. Okay, there's like 10,000 employees that work at Raytheon. I just wanted to connect her. And she's like, oh really, what project? I'm like, Tomahawk Missile. She's like, that's the project I work on. And I'm like, no joke, do you know Martha Hoeffer? Yes, I was just talking to her about buying an investment property. She said that she owns 2 of them. I have done all of my mom's home loans. Do you think that she referred me to this lady that I was pre-qualifying at the auction? I was like, well, that would be my mother. And then I was hoping that it didn't disqualify me from qualifying her because my own mother didn't recommend me. Isn't that crazy? And then I was like, Mom! And then she's like, well, I work with her. What if it didn't go well? I'm like, are you kidding me? But my mom is an engineer, right? And she's actually a quality control engineer. So she is designed for obstacles in crisis. And so as somebody who plans for crisis, she's not going to enter into crisis. I might make her look bad at work, right? So just be very open, right? This will happen to you, okay? Then you want a category for people who are prospects, okay? I want you to write this down because this isn't a rule in the book. But you want to move people in your prospects list every quarter. Okay, so you want to look at these people and decide, did they move up in category? Okay, so the goal is to get people from prospect to at least consider you, right? And then to consider you into promoter, and then from promoter to raving fan, okay? And I'm going to show you how to do that when we track their life events, but that's the whole point, okay? Then there's another list, and this is a factual list. I'm going to also tell you about the psychology of prospecting and posting. There's the list of people you just don't like that much, okay? You get to their name on your phone, and the instant reaction is, ooh, I don't want to call them. But, you know, it's they don't pass your gut test, okay? Here's the importance of getting rid of them, okay? They're what we call detractors. So they are the opposite, right? So if somebody's talking about real estate, they're like, you better not be using Lizy, right? They're just the people that are just naysayers. They're unhappy clients. They're people that just you couldn't please. Okay, there's somebody who would rather promote their so-and-so, right? It's just important stuff. You just have to know who one you don't like and who doesn't like you, okay? Now, really important, anybody that you have made angry in business, you have to put into a category called I'm sorry, whether or not you're actually sorry, okay? It is super important for a long-term business for you to neutralize people that are unhappy, okay? And the way that I do that is I treat them just like my raving fans. I love on them for their birthday, I pay attention to their life events, I apologize. It does not pay to be right, and let me also tell you this, the truth is subjective based on whose truth it is. Okay, we both have the truth from observing the same life event, so nothing's really the truth, okay? So, no, nothing, right? So if you just know that, then don't take it personal, apologize, and put them on an I'm sorry list, because there's a very fine line between a detractor and a raving fan. You take care of somebody that you have let down in business, they will become a raving fan, okay? Now, if you straight up just don't like them though, right, you just get rid of them. That's the delete list. So you have I'm sorry for detractor, or you have get out of my database. Do not be somebody that hoards people in your database just on the hopes that they might do business with you, because psychologically, do you guys know how your nervous system works? Okay, so the nervous system is designed to protect you. Back in the days when there were lions and tigers, right, we would feel that, right? We would feel if somebody was watching us, if we were being prey. You see it in animals, okay? There are no more lions and tigers, so the only things that we're running away from are emotional now, right? It's like, who's going to hurt my feelings? Okay, but it's the truth. So when you get to a detractor in your phone and you get rejected or you have a negative conversation, your subconscious mind will actually prevent you from taking the steps, right? It happens. All of a sudden you get distracted, something else seems more important. You just won't do it for some reason. You can't figure it out. That's why. Because the body is designed to keep you safe. Okay, and now you've told yourself that prospecting makes you uncomfortable. Okay, posting on Facebook might make me get made fun of, or whatever you've told yourself, okay? So it's super important that you get rid of any obstacles. Okay, so this is how you're going to categorize them. I've written definitions down, right, for you. Okay, so you're going to start with birthdays every single day. Okay, if you do not feel comfortable calling people on their birthdays, the easiest thing to do is to record a birthday message on your phone and then text it to them. It starts the conversation back and forth, okay? Right? But here's why you want to have a conversation on people's birthdays. Just so you know, and you can start this in Messenger is the easiest way if you also don't feel comfortable. like people check their messengers, right? Actually just the same amount that they check text messages, and 98% of text messages are read, right? Which is why you want to, okay? So you want to ask people what's going on with their family. Hey, how's the family? Like any big plans for the weekend for your birthday? Like how are you going to celebrate? Okay, how's work going? Did you take the day off? Right? People take the day off for their birthday. Just happens. Now I gotta work, you know. And then it's like, well, what do you want to accomplish this year? What's, 39 gonna do for you? Like, you tell me, like, what can I do? What dream can I help you accomplish? Okay? And your job, right, is to figure out how you can impact them. Right? They're gonna say, you know what, I want to build a house this year, or you know what, I want to pay off debt this year, or I want to go on this big vacation, or I want to do whatever. Okay? And this is how you start paying attention. Okay? So when they say this, right? Like you see a video of their trip to the Bahamas and you see a vacation tips to the Bahamas, would you send it to them? Yes or no? Yeah. You'd send it to them because you know. The idea behind the birthday calls, you add people to your database and you track their goals so that you can constantly be having conversations and providing value. Okay, does that all make sense? This is about to get a little creepy. Yes? Okay, so I believe that social media is all about research. Okay, it's all about how we can provide value in a big way, right? Because not everyone feels comfortable with posting. Let's get real. And plus, like he said, you don't always have something to say, but you can always start a conversation within social media. Okay? So the next thing we're going to do is track life events based on this, and this is your referral program. Okay? So people who are likely to refer to me, I invite to all my events, and there's actually a feature in your newsfeed called See First. Okay? You are allowed, I think, 20 to 30 people in your See First category. So if they are important to you, like your raving fans and or your prospects, you're going to want to know everything that they're doing. Their favorite restaurants, if they're getting married, if they're getting engaged, if they went to go do their taxes, right? You want to know what they're doing, and it will be top of your newsfeed. Literally, whatever they do is the top of your newsfeed. It is awesome, okay? If somebody knew that something was important to you and they commented on it, how would you feel?
Yeah, good, happy.
Important, maybe? Right? Like, hey, that person notices. How many times do you notice that somebody you haven't talked to in a while likes one of your photos? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay? So this is how it starts, right? You start paying attention, you start supporting them, all of a sudden you guys feel like better friends. You know what happens? What happens when somebody goes and likes one of your photos? Comments on something that's important to you. What do you naturally do?
Go to their page.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you start liking their stuff and you're like, oh wow, she's really active in real estate. Man, she's a go-getter. She has goals, right? She's really helping people. Okay? This is why it's so important to learn the strategy behind database and relationships, okay? So I'm going to teach you how to make a friends list next, okay? This can only be done on a desktop, which is why I gave you the written instructions. There are amazing instructions on Facebook if you type in how to create a friends list, okay? But here's why you want a friends list, okay? I have every single person in my database categorized under how I know them, occupations, under, what group they work for, if they're important, contacts, like however I know them, and they can be in as many lists as they qualify for, okay? Every single day of the week I have themed out, so I have it for influencers, so people who have an impact in their community. I go press my influencers list, I see what's going on in their lives, and I start making calls to try to provide value. Okay? If they don't have anything posted, my conversation is, hey, are you on social media? Like, I have no idea what's going on in your world. Like, why aren't you posting? And they're like, oh, I'm not a big social media person. Well, how am I supposed to stay connected with you? Tell me what's going on. Right? Do you see how that happens? Okay, it's an easy thing. Hey, I was thinking about you. Like, I don't get to see anything. What's going on? Typically, if they're an influential person, though, they're on social media. Okay, but you want to know how you can provide them value or like things you're interested in. So this will help you. If you hit the list, it only shows you those people. Okay, this is the trick to not getting lost in the maze of social media. You can only do this on Facebook. You can't do it on Instagram, you can't do it on LinkedIn, you can't do it on anything, okay? Just on Facebook, okay? So you can do this, and I gave you a couple of statistics on just social media in general, but this will help you cut your time, theme out your days, right? You can do promoters one day, raving fans another day, passive people, but you'll go on, you'll see what's happening, comment, like, okay? Direct message, you can start a conversation if it's their birthday, okay? So tactically, what are you gonna do? You're gonna start putting a list together, and then once you have your list, what are you gonna do?
Categorize it.
Categorize it, okay, what else?
Reach out to people, or pick a group to reach out to. You
Okay,
gotta
so
schedule your time.
let's write this down because I really want you to get it. Okay, you're going to start your friends list, categorize them by how likely they are to refer you, what occupations, where you know them from, however many lists you can think of. Okay. Okay, so you'll do this on people's birthdays, and you'll always do it every day. Okay. Then you're going to theme out your days for referral types. Okay. And then what you're going to do is you're going to press the list, you're going to look for life events, you're going to like and comment on all these people's posts. Okay? That's tactically what you need to do. Okay? This does not take me very long. Literally. To go down and like a bunch of posts, literally maybe like 10 minutes. Commenting, I do like to comment real stuff. You know, so maybe it's an hour at most. Okay? But an hour of starting conversations is really important. How many of you guys start, you know, intentional hour conversations every day? One person? Cool. This is one tactical thing that you can do for your business, okay? Are we cool with that? All right, awesome. So we're tracking life events, okay? Now we're going to talk about how to post and your brand message. Okay, and then I'm going to tell you what social media types and where to post this stuff on, and then how you can use one piece of content 4 times. Would that be helpful? Okay. All right, but I really just wanted to hone in on that battery stuff. Okay, so here's the thing. Very first thing when it comes to brand is you have to figure out what it is that you're actually providing, and it's not real estate services. Okay, so you need to define who your client is, okay? Now, your client is defined by the majority, that says majority, okay? The majority, right? So if you took a list of all of your clients, okay, if you broke them down into sales price, if it's a purchaser listing, property type, age group, family, no family, right? You would get an ideal client. For me, my who looks like a first-time home buyer buying under $300,000, single-family residences using minimum down payments. Okay? Does that make sense? If you need a good tool for this, guys, Sammy, will you wave for a sec? Okay. If you want a good tool for that, go reach out to her. She will email you our simple business tracker. Okay, and that will help you figure out like a list of everything, and then you can do majority roles. Okay, so you'll know who your who is. The next thing is you need to figure out what their problems are. Okay. Okay. So if your demographic is first-time home buyers under $300,000 using minimum down payments, buying single-family homes, right? What kind of problems do you think those people have?
Credit.
Okay, so credit. All right, so credit. What else?
Down payment.
Down payment. What else?
Inventory. Finding home.
Education.
So in education, we're talking about the process, or
Yeah.
okay. What else?
Meeting their mortgage payments.
Budget. Okay. All right. Cool. So you can go down. What you'll want to do is have 10 to 15 problems. Okay. This is super important because each of these things are now going to go into what solutions you provide. So, what solutions do you provide to credit?
refer them to you for credit repair.
So you have resources?
Yeah.
Okay. What else? If you needed help on credit, like you personally, what would you do?
Credit advisor.
Google it. Yes or no?
Yeah.
So I'd probably Google it, truthfully, and then I would look for great articles, right? And then I would provide credit tips, right? What from your personal experience, have you suffered with bad credit? Do you have great credit? Like, what about your situation with credit? Like, what advice or expertise can you provide? Okay, so we're going to talk about tips, but look, people can Google their own tips, okay? The trick with tips, and this is a for real thing, is it has to come with actual expertise. Okay. I kind of regret telling my teacher that I had spell check, you know, because now I like run into a word and I'm like, So that says expertise. So there's that. Okay, so we have tips, but they have to come with expertise. People can just Google or YouTube the tips, right? So for me, I have very specific credit tips. I tell people never to close a credit card, right? Because if they close a credit card, they're going to drop their credit score, one, because of my personal knowledge with credit, right? And because the algorithm really bases it on the length of history, right? But there are people who have an exact opposite opinion, like Dave Ramsey, who happens to be the most famous financial advisor in the whole country, okay? He would say, you're crazy for having credit and you better shut those things down. And I don't care if it impacts your credit score, let me tell you, getting out of debt is way more important, okay? Both valuable opinions, but guess what? They come with opinions, okay? All right, so tips have to come with what? Okay, I need you guys to be more like active because I can't tell if I'm making any sense. Okay, now.
Lizy, when you're talking about expertise, are you talking about just the way you're presenting the message of information? I'm trying to figure out like how are you presenting that you have the expertise?
So I would, so if it was me, right? Let's go into some of my posts. So if you guys aren't following me, I'm Lizy with 1Z Irvine on Instagram because this is the easiest place to see where I post this, okay? So, and I say like kind of crazy things, just to be honest. Because I feel like people should either say hell yes or hell no. Like that's what I want, right? So my first one is, do you want a rich mindset or a wealthy mindset? Right, that's a question, but it's loaded. Who's gonna say? Like they're like, what's the difference? Like that's really, what people said to me. And so then the verbiage on that was, well, do you want to be rich or do you want to be wealthy? Is there a difference? Yes, especially when it comes to how you think about money. Having a rich mindset may sound great, but it takes a wealthy mindset to really secure your financial future, right? And then I go into my tips about like the difference between rich people think of income, wealthy people think in terms of assets, okay? But like I start off with like, do you even know the difference between this? Right, and I honestly don't think it's a negative for you guys to be like, do you actually know the difference between a rich mindset or a wealthy mindset? Like, did you even know that there were two? Right? So that's how I would present it, as in like ask a loaded question, say, you would be crazy to not do X, Y, and Z. Or you have to do this in order to get ahead, right? If you're buying your first home is the best financial investment you can make. Here's why. Like, do you see how that goes? If you're presenting the information, did that answer your question?
I think so. Do you kind of group a lot of your video content inside of that as well, like your Money Tip Mondays and stuff like? Do you really thoughtfully put that all together?
100%.
Yeah.
So this is I'm getting to there.
Yeah.
But does that all make sense for how you provide expertise when you're providing a tip or information? Like, is the market crashing? Oh, I believe the market is crashing. right? Instead of market update, right? To be honest, guys, nobody knows how to read the Cromford report, not even real estate agents, okay? That's a true statement. They just wait for Tina to tell them what it says. You laugh because you know it's true. Like, right? So what we need to do is actually study it. So what does it mean to have 44 days of supply? Seriously, 44 days sounds like a lot of homes, like a lot of supply, right? But if you have nothing to compare it to, right? But that's where your expertise comes in. Guys, we have no inventory. We only have 44 days. A healthy market will have more than 6 months, 180 days. You literally will not have a home if you don't jump on this bandwagon today, right? That's a loaded statement, it's probably extreme, but it tells them what you believe about the market. Like, you would be crazy not to sell in this kind of market, right? We're expecting double-digit appreciation, and let me tell you why. We only have 44 days of supply. A healthy market has 180. In fact, all of you guys should use that exact post. Okay? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Write it down. You would be crazy not to sell in this market. Right? There's only 44 days of supply left, literally, less than 11,000 homes. Okay? A healthy market has 6 months worth of inventory. This is true. We've been living on 2.5 months and now we're down. Like, this is crazy. Right? We're expecting double-digit appreciation. Okay? Cool. Alright, so we got this. Process knowledge, the same thing. Like, who has an opinion? Like, I've seen both. Like, people would show a property without getting a pre-qual, and people are like, you're insane, I'd never waste my time. Okay? Right? So you would have opinions on the type of vendors that they should choose, the type of realtor that they should choose, right? Do not say, step 1 is to get pre-qualified. Why? Why should they get pre-qualified? How does it help them with their home search? Like, is it going to save them time, money, or stress? Yes or no?
Yes.
For sure.
Right? How would they know that? Like, who likes to be told what to do?
Who doesn't feel comfortable?
You only want to be told what to do when you are specifically, Jasmine, tell me what to do here, right? That's the only time when you've given somebody permission. Okay? So you have to say, hey guys, I just had a client who didn't get pre-approved before they went out finding a property, right? Because of this, we weren't able to submit an offer, and in this market where multiple offers are coming in on every single property and they're selling in less than 24 hours, you would be crazy not to have this pre-approval letter set up and ready to go, because time is of the essence right now. Better than step 1, get pre-approved?
Yeah. Yes.
Right? That's why having an opinion is so long. Okay? Alright, so do you get this? Right? So for every single thing here, you need to have a solution, okay? And your solution has to be related to how it's going to save them time, money, or stress. Okay? And here's the trick. You also, so how are you going to save them? Save/make. And your process needs to be fun or easy. Okay? Right? So a good example of this is I have a real estate agent partner who does carpool karaoke with every single one of his people that's in his car. And he's like, what are we going to do today? We're going to see properties. And then they start singing to like all of their different songs and jams that he has in the car on their way to different properties. Is that fun or easy?
Fun.
Fun. If you were looking to make this a super fun experience, would you go with carpool karaoke guy?
Yeah.
Honestly, let me tell you, I would, right? Now, you're probably not somebody who would, but here's the good part, right? Carpool karaoke man is going to go for people who want to have a good time, right? Who get that driving around in a car is probably not that much fun, right? And if the dude can implement knowledge and fun at the same time, people would absolutely go with it, unless, right, they are super fear-based, right? And they want to make sure that the guy is this easy. I am so stressed out. It just tells you what their motivators are, right? But you'll either have a heck yes or a heck no. Okay, does that make sense? Right, but it's fun, right? So process has to be easy or fun. I am more easy than I am fun. Okay, let's get real. I do home loans. Okay, so does that make sense? Yes? Okay. All right. So one thing that we're going to do here is I am going to, did everyone get this before I just, where is it? Okay. I want to talk to you about content, right? So now we have problems, okay? Every single person should know the one thing that lights them up, okay? That lights you up. It's not going to be real estate, so I'm just going to tell you that, okay? So if there's something that like motivates you like no other, right? Like, what would it be? Like for me, to be very honest, there are two things that light me up, okay? Entrepreneurship, specifically for women, okay? And making money. Like how to grow my money, right? I am a poor kid, never got taught finances as a child, as an adult, and I struggled a lot. And so because I have studied money, I am so passionate about teaching other people about how to make money and budget. Like I literally could talk about it for days. If I overhear somebody talking about it, I'm gonna be like, oh my God, let me tell you, right? Like I'm just so excited. But we each have something, let me tell you, you have it. Like if you're eavesdropping and then you have an opinion, let me tell you that is a zone of genius. Okay? So you need to know what that is, and then how can you relate it to your business? Okay, so if it's decorating, can you relate that to real estate?
Absolutely.
Okay? If it's wine and cheese, can you relate it to real estate? Because this one's going to get harder. How would we relate wine and cheese to real estate?
Have an open house with the wine and cheese.
That's one thing. Events. Okay, what else? Fine architecture is like a fine wine. Here are all the things that you need to know about luxury real estate, like how it compares to wine, right? Like have a different events, right, that relate to it, like a lunch and learn, a happy hour, right? You can take your passions and then talk about it, right? You can talk about how you would entertain in a home with nice wine, right? Like here's how you would throw a party in this floor plan. Right? You didn't think about it that way. Your brain will get more geared towards that the more you start realizing, okay? But every single human, I promise you, unless you're in a coma, has a zone of genius or a zone of passion, okay? So we're going to call it a zog, okay? Now, if you really don't know what your zog is, here's what you do. You fill out that business tracker, and you figure out who your ideal client is, and whatever solutions you provide for that client, right, whatever they would say about you, which again is your brand, right, is your zone of genius. I did this today with a real estate agent, and I said, text 5 of your best clients, tell them to describe your business and the thing that they like the most. And it was like his timeliness, in responses. What else was it? His knowledge of condos was another one, which I thought, oh look, this is really interesting. You should talk about condos all the time. Floor plans, like what ones you can do Airbnb in, what ones, allow for vacation rentals. There's so many different things you can do in condos, right? HOA dues, why they compare capital improvements, right? And they said that he always made them feel super comfortable. Okay, this was his brand essence, right? So I was like, so tell me, why does being punctual, why is that important to you? Right? Like, why do you think that? And he's like, well, because when I was growing up, my dad was an Olympic athlete, and it always was super important, ingrained in his mind, you had to be on time or before for practice. And I was like, okay, well then running, right, is running a zone of genius, right? Do most people want to be healthy? Yes or no? Is it a thing that we can relate on? Right? these things matter, right? They just matter. Does being timely in this market matter?
Yes.
Right? So you just have to, like, I promise you, you can, if you have trouble with your Zog, I will help you figure out how to connect it to real estate. Cool? That's my promise to you. Are we good with that? Okay, so then you have the areas in business that you know well. Okay? So I would say for me, this is money. I would say for me, this is like biz and marketing. Okay? Right? What items do you know well? Okay? These two things you have to be really excited about because you have to post about it all the time. Okay? Then, that kind of looks like cancer, but just imagine that it's like a circle. Then it's what you're learning. Okay? How many of you guys have a practice of learning? Like you go to the Cromford report meetings, you go to lunch and learns, you're here today, so that's a good sign. Okay? So what stuff are you learning? What stuff are you reading? Like, what information can you then bring back and provide solutions with? Hey, I was reading the Cromford report today, and it turns out we only have 44 days worth of market inventory. Right? That might sound like a lot, but let me tell you, I also read that a healthy market is 180 days. Right? That is crazy, guys. We literally have like over a month and a half of supply left, which really means that if you were hoping to buy a home, you should probably get on your pre-qualification letter, right, so we can make a timely offer, and you need to give me a call like ASAP, like yesterday. Okay? Right? So what you're learning, okay? And then what you're competent in. And this could be, because learning is up here. So if this is competence. And this is always going to be your profession. So always 100% real estate is what you're competent in, right? So. And this is drawn in your booklet too. Okay? And then this last one is what you don't know. Don't care. Okay? Here's the obstacle in marketing is that you guys are friends with a lot of real estate agents, and so you see a lot of marketing. And because you see it, you assume that it works. So then, because we've seen that so-and-so is doing it, then we instantaneously think that we need to be posting the just listed car, right? Because we assume that that's effective marketing, okay? Well, if it doesn't save people time, money, and stress, and it doesn't exactly say how your system is going to save them time, money, and stress and be super easy or super fun, it's terrible marketing, okay? It shouldn't be on social media, okay? But what happens is most people will start here because if this goes into the universe, it's the biggest circle that there could possibly be, and we will go this way, right, when it comes to communication because this is the biggest pool. Okay, but this is actually where you provide the least amount of value. Okay, and it makes it super hard because you're not being very authentic to yourself, right? And or your brand or your strategy. Okay, so in posting, we always want to go this way out. Okay, so here are your posting schedule. Okay, so how I plan out my posts, guys, is I take the thing that I am the most passionate about. Okay, so for me, it's money. Okay, so I have created this thing called Money Tip Monday. Okay, and I record a video on a money tip. I also write a blog and I write social media posts to support this and a LinkedIn. Okay, I sometimes use the exact same post to post on every single format. It's the exact same video that goes on every single format, and it's the almost the exact same verbiage. Okay, because Instagram and Facebook are connected, if you use the exact same verbiage, it actually ruins the algorithm. So I just change up those two a little bit, but it's LinkedIn's the same, YouTube's the same, Instagram and Facebook are slightly different. Okay, just an FYI. Okay, so I'll take my money tip, right, and I'll give them a money tip, and I'll try to make that money tip have a relationship with loans and real estate. Okay, so when I was talking about the rich versus wealthy mindset, I talked about how wealthy people own assets, and one asset that they own is real estate, right? And how can a real estate be an asset, right? Because most people think about it in terms of a mortgage, right, which is a debt. But it's an asset because of appreciation and because of cash flow, right? And cash flow is considered a stream of income called passive income, right? Most wealthy people have 7 streams of passive income, right? So I use my zone of genius, okay, related to my area of competence, okay? So once a week, I will post 100% on my zone of genius and wrap it into my area of competence, which is my job, okay? Then the next day, I will post a marketing or business tip because my secondary source of business, guys, aside from clients, is real estate agents, divorce attorneys, financial planners, okay? Do they need marketing tips and business tips? Yeah, 100%. Yours might be cooking. Do you think your past clients might want a great recipe that you've designed for your client appreciation party or a housewarming party? It's like, hey guys, I just catered this amazing housewarming party for my client Marcy. Marcy, thank you so much for allowing me into your home. It was awesome to celebrate you amongst your 60 friends and family, right? Thank you for giving me this huge opportunity. At the event, we served this dish. Let me tell you, it's 20 minutes and you can do it for every single party. Okay, did you throw in that you're a realtor and that you do client appreciation parties for your clients? Right? Did you give an item of value? Yes. Does everyone eat? Okay, not everyone cooks, but everyone eats. Okay, right? All right, so then I take the thing I know well, area of competence. Okay? Then I always post a success story. So this is like a testimonial from one of my clients, from one of my agents, what they said about my services. Okay, so this is an evidence of success or a testimonial. Okay? Or I share a story about how my process saved the day. Okay? Hey, and it starts with, don't let this happen to you. Right? It just is what it is. I literally had a client using Wells Fargo. This happened to me yesterday. Using Wells Fargo, they wouldn't take a non-contingent offer letter to start her job or an offer letter to start their job. I can take one that so long as it's non-contingent. Okay? They wouldn't even escalate it, but this is what happens when somebody works at a big bank. They don't even know how to get your home loan done, right? If it isn't perfect and vanilla, right? How many of you guys live in a glass house, right? How many of you guys live perfect lives, right? Right? So this is why you would need somebody who doesn't work at Wells Fargo to help you with your home loan, right? So it's either a testimonial, what somebody else said about your business, or, right, it's you giving how your process solved it. Okay, so that's day 3. Then you're going to share something you're learning. Hey, I was in this awesome class today, and they said, I really need to define my brand message. Guys, I really need your help with this. Right? Can you tell me the first 2 things that come to mind when you think of me? Right? Professional or personal? Take that one today. Right? Right? You'll find out who one could be a potential promoter for your business, right, if they respond, or an advocate. Right? And then you'll understand what people view of you. Do you even know? Right? It's important to know. Okay? But you'll talk about what you're learning and then how it relates to your business. Okay? And then you never post about what you don't know or don't like or don't care. Okay? We cool with that? Right? Just so you know, when you copy another brand or another person, it never helps you. Okay? Chances are, if they're any good at marketing, right, people have already seen it, and all you have done is reinforce their brand. Specific example in real estate, Russell Shaw. You know how many people steal his content? Literally almost everyone. And the funniest thing about that, guys, the literal funniest thing about that, he gets calls all day long on other people's marketing. You know why? Because it sounds so much like him. People have heard his message way more than 7 times, right? And the one time that you posted it just reminded them of the other guy. Okay? Perfect example. How many of you guys knew about the Peloton issue? It was somebody going, oh, honey, she gave her husband a video about how the Peloton changed her life. And everyone was like, screw that guy for giving his wife a Peloton and telling her she needed to lose weight, which it did not say. Right, it did not say, but that's what people thought. Peloton got a ton of heat. And then what ended up happening is this beer company had that same girl show up in their beer commercial drinking at a bar, right? Supposedly leaving her husband, right? The idea was to promote the beer and that she was drinking, right? But all it did was remind people of Peloton. How many of you guys have seen the Sprint commercial with the Verizon guy?
Yeah.
Right? Did it make you think of Verizon, yes or no?
Yes.
100%, right? Terrible advertising. When you take somebody else's idea, all you do is reinforce their brand and not yours. Okay? So, I like when it looks like a light bulb went off. Okay, so with this, guys, the important thing here is that you can take one piece of content and post it on all different sorts of content, okay? With one video, here's what I do, okay? I post the video, I take the best quote from the video, I make it a quote tile, right, for different sources, and I take a 30-second snippet of my best quote, and I put that in my stories, okay? Every time, this is also a pro tip, every time I'm gonna make a post or post a video, I always get on my stories and say, hey guys, I just wanna let you know I recorded this video today on the difference between a rich mindset and a wealthy mindset. You probably didn't even know there was a difference, but let me tell you, there is. And I'd really love to hear your thoughts on this today. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Okay? The reason for that is because stories are pushed more than anything else. Okay, anything else. You will go to the first in everyone's newsfeed. Okay, and then you will tell them about your post, and then you will share that post in the story, dragging them to your post. Okay, that's how that should go every single time. Okay, this is cool stuff. Now, 100% post on YouTube. Okay, every video. Post on Facebook, video. Video is king, guys. Every social media is pushing that 100%, even LinkedIn, which is why you have to have at least one good video a week. Okay, even if you use the video and then shared the quote tile the next day and then did the story the day afterwards, right? You can stretch one piece of content out an entire week. Okay, but you'll start with this list first, right? Connect it to your zone of genius, connect it to your business. Okay, cool. All right. So I'm gonna just touch on this thing. Do you feel like we covered SOI, how to get leads? Yeah. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Did we cover what to post? Okay. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, finding clients. Okay. Here's the thing. In order to find clients, you have to be in groups. Okay. Groups of common interest. Okay. Groups of things that promote your zone of genius. Right? Groups of people that things you're knowing well, things you're trying to learn. Okay, do not join any real estate groups. You know why?
Because everybody else is already real estate.
You'll only find real estate agents there. Okay, now Jasmine, okay, and Nadia, and whoever else here speaks a second language, okay, you guys can be in real estate groups. You know why? Because you can offer services in another language. Okay, and because you can get referral fees, this is an important thing. Okay, so you too can be on those groups. Okay, or if you specifically work with, like, sign language or something, you know what I mean? If there's a specific niche that you help, right? 1031 exchanges, the reverse IRAs, right? Those are things that you can help, right? Commercial, okay? So you want to get into groups, and the idea here, again, is to spend at least 30 minutes answering people's questions, right? It's answering people's questions. This is why YouTube is so important too, because people will find you organically on YouTube, right? But you're answering people's questions, okay? Now, a specific case in this, these will never be anything in your zone of genius. It's 100% in your zone of competence, okay? Right? Think of it as the boring questions, like what's an impound account? What does title do? Why should I get an inspection? Like, what's a really boring video? Like, why a septic scope? How do I read my termite inspection? Like, these are the boring questions. Like, do I need a range in my house? Right? Like, it's just, and let me tell you when you find this to be, like, important. I'm always grateful for the person who recorded the random video that put on YouTube. Like, I had to clean out my coffee machine, and I threw out the instructions, because why keep them? And I was like, oh my god, I don't know how to clean this. And I was like, I YouTubed, how do you clean a Gag Now coffee maker? And sure enough, there was this video with 10,000 views. One dude made a how do you clean your coffee maker, and I was like, thank God. But I couldn't possibly, like, you couldn't pay me enough money to do that video. Like, I just, what, it would suck, right? So, but I'm so grateful for those things, and that's what it is. You gotta post and answer the most boring questions ever. But they're all in these groups. Like, good ones too. This is a pro tip, garage sales. Why do you think people need to have a garage sale? Just getting ready to list. Okay, right? They're getting ready to list. Okay, it's like block parties. You should show up, right? You should answer questions. If there's a neighborhood group, right? They're next door apps, right? You can't promote your business, but you can be as helpful as humanly possible, right? And when you're in a group, like let's say your neighborhood group, would it also benefit you to host an event? Okay, that's a good way, again, to use real life prospecting in social media format to get clients, okay? Now, hashtags for clients is very difficult, just so you know. I have never seen them really work. Now, I do search, there's the one called My PHX, so it's on Instagram, and I scroll for like people complaining. Right, so this one girl was like, oh, my AC broke, I'm dying, I hate my landlord. I was like, hey, I can fix that problem for you. It's as easy as one home loan away. Like, new AC is one home loan away, right? Like, this is it. Or like people like being exhausted at the laundromat, they're like, FML, you know? And I'm like, hey, a coin-free laundry experience is one home loan away. I got a solution for you, right? But again, it's just searching the groups and then just being funny about it. Okay? Right? So does that all make sense? Okay, what's questions I can answer for you guys before we wrap up? Are you guys like the exploded head emojis? Is this too much?
No, it's really helpful.
That's very helpful.
Okay. I know this is different. If you guys wanted to learn about ads, I'll stay here for a couple minutes afterwards and answer questions specifically on that. But I can tell you that I have literally doubled my business year after year by just concentrating on these strategies, providing value, and staying consistent. Nothing, no paid advertisement, no amount of like trendy clothes or beautiful pictures will ever do that for you. Okay. So can I ask you a huge question? Did you raise your hand if you got value from this class? Okay, cool. Because I, believe it or not, am not a social media professional speaker. I am a loan officer, so if you found value in the class, it would mean a lot to me if my team could help you with your next referral. So appreciate you guys and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's how you close your